Welcome to Biz Help for You with host Candy Messer. Entrepreneurs like to focus on the big picture, like profitability, success, and a smooth running organization. But there always seems to be those little things like taxes, employee compensation, laws, regulations, and more. Now you can get the answers you need in one place. Join us today as we break it all down for you. Now, here's your host, Candy Messer.
Hello and welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the topic of my last interview. If you were unable to join us and would like to listen to the show, links can be found on my YouTube and Facebook pages, as well as multiple favorite podcast platforms. And if you'd like to receive notifications on when the podcasts have been uploaded, please like and subscribe. Now let's learn a little bit about our guest today. Howard Brown is an author, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, interfaith peacemaker, two-time stage 4 cancer survivor, and healthcare advocate. For more than 3 decades, Howard's business innovations, leadership principles, mentoring, and his resilience in beating cancer against long odds have made him a sought-after speaker and consultant for businesses, nonprofits, congregations, and community groups. In his business career, Howard was a pioneer in helping to launch a series of technology startups before he co-founded 2 social networks that were the first to connect religious communities around the world. He served his alma mater, Babson College, ranked by U.S. News as the nation's top college for entrepreneurship, as a trustee and president of Babson's worldwide alumni network. His hard-earned wisdom about resilience after beating cancer twice has led him to become a nationally known patient advocate and cancer whisperer to many families. So Howard, welcome to the show.
Hi, Candy. Thanks for having me on today. Wow. Great bio, right?
Right. Well, there is a lot of information that I just shared in there, but I always like to ask, tell me a little bit more about yourself and how did you get into doing what you're now doing?
So I am a true technology entrepreneur. So Babson College, which you mentioned, my alma mater, babson.edu, is their specialty is entrepreneurism. And they actually have something called ET&A, entrepreneurship, thought and action, and entrepreneurship of all kinds. So it takes entrepreneurship to run a gas station, to run a gym, to run an art, to run an online service. You need to have the basics of entrepreneurship, which basically is finance, right? Management of people, leadership of people, working with others in finance or in the sales group or in the engineering group or in the marketing group. You have to building teams is what entrepreneurship really is about. And entrepreneurship makes the economies go around the world. And so the long answer to this, your question, is that, woman entrepreneurship, family businesses, it's just not that moniker that I did, the Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And after actually having my second bout of cancer, or colon cancer, these last 6 years, I've now become an author, a speaker, a podcaster, and a national patient advocate for cancer, and specifically colon cancer. So that's what I'm doing today.
Right. And we're talking about Shining Brightly, your book, and we wanted to kind of intermingle that with entrepreneurship as well, too, because of course, those who are listening, are entrepreneurs. So I would love for you just to talk about kind of the key takeaways you have from Shining Brightly and how they can put that into their life, to start applying that.
Sure. So I think we can all understand coming out of COVID, right, is that we all get knocked down. There's just not anyone that I know that just cruises through life, and it's just a breeze. Everybody gets knocked down. So whether it's family, business, relationships, health, we all get knocked down. The key is getting back up again, and again, and again. How do you get back up when you get knocked down? And especially as an entrepreneur or a business owner, curveballs come, right? You have to deal with the unexpected sometimes. And so how do you deal with that matters. And I call that building up, your resilience, right? So we all have our business IQ. We have our internal IQs. You've got to build up that resilience to be able to dodge a bullet, take a step back, power through, whatever is called for, right? If you need to, climb the mountain, or do you need to go around the mountain? You got to figure these things out. And then that's strategic, but that's really the entrepreneurial way as far as figuring that out. And listen, it's in my DNA, right? I know what I am. I'm an entrepreneur, but it can be learned. It can
Hmm.
be learned. There's people that, were a police officer and now an entrepreneur, or a teacher and now they're entrepreneurship. So it happens. And a
True.
lot came out of COVID with coaching and mindset and trying to figure this out, because people had a lot of time on their hands,
Hmm.
looking into the Zoom box.
Exactly. Well, and
So
obviously, when we are individuals, things affect us individually, right? But our life is intertwined.
that's correct. So out of the book is actually, how cool is this? I walk back my life over the last 3 years doing Zoom meetings of anyone influential in my life. So it was
Mhm,
friends and mentors and family and my first, camp counselors, my doctors. I got to have conversations with them, and it was the coolest thing, because the chapters don't read like an author telling you, talking to you. It's
mhm,
conversational. I'm emceeing chapter conversations. So people telling me it's a page turner, it's a great read. But the book is really about building up a life of resilience, using hope to do good in the world.
mhm,
And that good in the world could be providing a very profitable business, but it really is about helping others and mentorship and being able to look back at your legacy and say, I'm really proud of what I've been able to accomplish, not just in the business world with, profit and loss and reaching people and serving happy customers. All that's great.
mhm.
But have you gone beyond that to actually reach out to your community, right? And done good in this world? And
Right,
that's the whole sum of the book. There's 300 pages, and that is to be able
right.
to look back and say, I'm really proud of what I've done and what I'm going to continue to do in this
Mhm.
lifetime.
Well, I think many entrepreneurs, even if they maybe start out thinking like, oh, I need to earn income for myself. I lost a job right during the pandemic or whatever it may be. Yes, that is something that we have to do. But usually there's another passion underlying that, that then as we are able to make the profit that we need in the business, we can give back, right? And make a difference in the community and maybe the even globally, depending on what that is. So, like I said, entrepreneurship is just a step in the right direction to making that change in the world.
I love the triple bottom line. I love being good to your customers, good to your employees, right?
Mhm.
And good to the community. I love all that. I'm about all that. And then the book shares a lot of those types of stories as well. But if people can strive to that, as I say, shining brightly makes the world a better place. It'll make your
Mhm.
business a better place. It'll make your employees happier, and your community too. So I think if we can work towards that, that's a noble goal.
Mhm. So as an entrepreneur, we know, especially when we're first starting out, we're putting in a lot of hours to just get it off the ground, get it running. And even sometimes when we've been doing it for a while, sometimes it's hard to be able to like have those boundaries of work and life. So what would you explain to an entrepreneur about what you've learned through your experiences, both as an entrepreneur and as a cancer survivor?
Sure. So I'm a workaholic. I've had to really work on that. It's something that I recognize, I
Mhm,
admit, and I actually had to schedule in time to work out, making sure that I'm hydrating, making sure that I spend enough family time. You can schedule it in if you're a
mhm,
calendar type person. The thing that I would like to entrepreneurs try to think that they have to do it all of themselves.
mhm,
All right. But actually, teams win. I always call life and building a business and cancer, it's a team sport. So
mhm,
my biggest recommendation for anyone of your audience and listeners is to go look for mentors. Go be a
mhm.
mentor and look for mentors. People are willing to lift you up and give you advice. Hopefully, it's good advice, right? They
Right.
they are. And I mentor students and get them internships. I mentor cancer patients. I've been mentored by other cancer patients, and I have my mentors that lift me up as well. And I welcome them in. And I'm big on mentorship, and mentorship is true leadership, whether you're
Mhm.
receiving or giving. I'm a big fan of mentorship, and I think it makes the world go round.
Right. Well, and it's so true. Like you're saying, you can be both a mentor and have a mentor because we are all at different stages in our lives, right? And so there's always someone behind us who's just maybe starting and that we can assist, but there's always a place for us to grow to that someone could also kind of lead us along that way. So we really can be both. You don't have to think of being one or the other.
I have to tell you, I got a message from a student at Babson College that's doing his semester in Italy.
Mm,
And he said, listen, I'm coming back and I'm going to be graduating in May. And I would really like to just understand from you kind of, what should I do? How should I prepare? And I have to tell you, I said, first of all, you're like beating 99% of the other students because they don't reach out to the alumni networks that they have. And the alumni networks are powerful. I can help get him to talk to somebody in about one email that he could never get to do himself. So I was thrilled that he actually asked. Okay. And that's the important part. You have nothing to lose, right? Most people that from your, if you're in college, if you say, I'm calling from Babson College, I'd like to talk to you and take 15 minutes of your time, they'll schedule you in. Most will. I'm not going to say 100%. But I was really, really proud of that young man because I was able to give him really good pointers. He said it was a great call, and now it's hip to him to apply those and keep me posted if he wants to. And so more people need to do that. And I have to tell you, when I get stuck, I try to go get unstuck by bouncing it off of others. And that's how it works. That's how you get unstuck. Sometimes you're in this place that you just can't figure it out. And so there's people and there's expertise out there. So from strangers as well. I mean, you can go to a LinkedIn group and go find someone that has certain expertise and bounce it off of them. And most people are, listen, people are busy, but if people actually are smart, they'll actually willing to give back a little bit. And that good karma goes around. And so there's a lot of benefits to that. So I recommend it. And I actually I don't talk the talk. I walk the walk.
That's always good. It'd be an example, right? So obviously when you have a major illness, whether it's cancer or there's some other, things that are going on, it impacts the family, right? It can impact, of course, your business. And I would love for you to talk about, not only as you potentially being the one dealing with the disease that you had to fight, but the impact it has on family and how as entrepreneurs, we can think about that, not only if it's happening in our own family, but if we have employees that are also dealing with this issue that have to balance caring for someone as well as being able to handle the work side of things.
We're in a way better time right now. Diversity, equity, inclusion, which includes wellness and includes emotional and mental health now, including physical health. We're in a better place. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I will tell you, so there's not too many people out there that don't know somebody or had a family member affected by cancer, but it could also be divorce. It can be addiction. It can be a lot of things. There's a million things that I said knock you down. So I will tell you that when I got sick, it affected my wife. She stepped into a primary caregiver role and dropped everything except for trying to help raise our daughter. But our neighbors brought meals and protein shakes, and the school donated like cleaning supplies and all that sort of stuff when we were in COVID. I mean, people helped. And you know what? The biggest thing we had to do was actually accept help. People also like to give, and it makes them feel good to give. And so in our time of need, people came and helped us. And we learned that. That was a learned skill by my wife and I, because we're used to helping and giving. And quite frankly, we needed the help and we accepted the help, and it was great. And I loved it. And that's really important. So for entrepreneurs, if you know of a worker that has a family member that they need to dedicate some time to, I would, if at all possible, grant it. Let them, flex schedule and work, from home a couple of times if they have to caregive or drive someone to an appointment. That shows that you care. It shows you're an empathetic leader. And that again, that's also leadership.
Well, when you were talking about that too, two thoughts, popped into my head too. Number one is, as somebody who sees someone facing a challenge, in their family, is by asking, what can I do to help? Or maybe giving a very specific request, like, can I help pick up groceries, for you, or something like that they can easily accept. But on the other side of that is actually accepting the help. Like you said, you're kind of used to doing things and helping others. So being able to actually accept that help, it took a little bit of time for you to be able to easily do that. So those are the two thoughts that I thought of immediately when you were talking about that.
Well, I'll give you one more example, Candy, is I got crushed. I have insurance, but insurance didn't cover everything. When you rack up about $3.8 million worth of hospital bills, my friends, they were pushing me hard. My college friends, my high school friends, run a GoFundMe. It'll help. Take your mind off it. You don't need to be worried about that. They ran a GoFundMe for me. And I put up a yucky picture of me and picture of my family and said, Howard needs help. Oh my God. So even if you couldn't give any dollars, which almost a lot of people did, I got cheerleading, I got prayers, I got, support. People sent me cards, they sent me books, they sent me DVDs. I mean, it was really the outpouring of support. I felt it. And I have to tell you, that helped. It helped to
Mm.
know that you have, a massive team behind you. And even if you only have one person behind you, you have to have someone there, because I don't want anyone to go through this alone. It's dark, it can get
Mhm.
depressive, and people
It's
people want to
scary.
help. Yeah, cancer sucks. SUX, I always call it. It
Mhm.
cancer sucks, but a lot of other things do too. So
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing, is accepting the help. But as I always say, is that once you've lifted yourself back up, and I'm getting there, I'm still under surveillance right now, but I'm getting there. I'm 3 years, no evidence of disease. So I can now start to help others. And so
Mhm.
I am, and I've always have been. So I'm still back to mentoring students and cancer patients, and I'm doing community work for Babson, and in the interfaith world and the Jewish community. I'm back volunteering. I
Mhm.
kind of took a break to focus on myself and get through a very, very tough time that weren't even sure I was going to get through it, but I did.
Mm.
And now I can, resume helping others now that I'm getting back to being on keel. So it's good.
Right. So, of course, when you're facing a major life situation like you are facing and faced it twice, right? I can imagine that you would have to look at kind of what's going on in your life and prioritize some things and maybe say something you thought was important, maybe is not really as important. So, why don't you tell the audience kind of what you learned from your own experiences and how do you then determine how to prioritize things and let things go that maybe you thought were important that maybe really aren't as relevant?
Sure. Well, the first thing you have to do is I had to recognize that I had to be selfish. All right. You
Mhm,
have to be selfish. It really was all about me and seeing if I had a chance to live. That's number one. Number two is that you got to minimize the negativity. There's no
mm,
way to always do that. But quite frankly, I stopped watching the news. I mean, school shootings and, wars and the election political cycle, all that's noise. That
mhm,
doesn't help healing. The third thing is actually two in one, is that sleep is healing and
mm,
hydration is healing. You got to
mm,
get the chemo out of you. You got to do that and stay active. So those three things are all about your self help and making sure that I was, sleeping, drinking enough fluids, and exercising enough. And then the last one is really helpful. It's called finding your happy place. Because
mhm,
when you're at your happy place, you're not going to actually have any stress. And mine happens to be the basketball court. Many other people tell me it's yoga, it's hiking, it's cooking, it's travel, it's music, it's art. I don't
mm,
care what it is. Find it and go there as much as you can. And
mhm,
that's what I did. And because on the basketball court, I don't feel stressed. I didn't feel like a cancer patient. I'm just there with my guys. They're trash talking. We're playing basketball. I'm getting a sweat, which also helps get the chemo out, get your blood going. And so those four lessons are really important there when you're down and out to get back up again. And then the
mhm,
big winner is I learned it's not actually what you can get in life, it's what you can give. So I
mm.
wanted to get back to giving rather than receiving, and so I've got myself there. So that's a really big premise, is how much I can give now, and I'm working it, and it's happening. And everyone's a work in progress. I still am too.
Right. So, in terms of telling the entrepreneur that's, maybe potentially facing this challenge right now and is thinking, this seems kind of hopeless. Like I've been given, or a family member has been given, some statistics that don't really look like they're in our favor. Like, what can you do to give them hope? Because you had some statistics that seemed daunting, right? The percentage of chance of, you're recovering. So maybe share when you're getting those devastating news from the doctor, like what can you do to maintain hope so that you can continue down this path?
Well, when I was 23 with cancer one, I ran home to mom and dad. We didn't have the internet or cell phones or computers, and we got a book out of the library on cancer, and then we talked to others, and we basically had landlines. In the digital world, there's ways to be able to get help. But I can tell you this: if you do Dr. Google on stage 4 colorectal cancer, you're going to see 4 to 12% chance of living, 12 months. Don't
Mhm,
believe it. Only the Lord above knows when your time is up, and when your time is
mhm,
up, your time will
mhm,
be up. So that's the thing. Now, listen, I had a lot of bad days, a lot of dark days, right? You're dealing with steroids, you're dealing with chemotherapy, you're dealing with surgeries, you're dealing with clinical trials, you're dealing with side effects. All that's terrible. But quite frankly, I had to be able to get out of bed. All right.
mhm,
And so whether it was go to the mailbox or it was take the dog for a walk, take the dog for a walk a little further. So it
mhm,
wasn't always major goals. I wasn't climbing the mountain at first. but now I can play full court basketball for 2 hours, and I'm back in shape. And it took time to get there, and I allowed myself that patience to get there. But I was very persistent, very consistent about doing that. So, for example, for an entrepreneur, if you need to be able to raise funds, if you're actually in a venture mode and trying to raise capital, that's hard work. You got to be focused, and you got to be strategic about that, about how you do that. And if you're in a business growth mode or in go-to-market mode with a new product, all of that takes real teamwork. Teamwork is what it takes. And so you can't get frustrated, but timing matters. Location matters. A lot of those results matter. I was at a startup called Liquid Audio in 1997 that was basically iTunes in 97. Well, in 97, we're listening to Sony Walkman cassette tapes. For some of the younger audience, they might not know what a cassette tape is, right? But quite frankly, the world wasn't ready for digital downloads that took 3 minutes to download 30 seconds of a song. And so 10 more years later, or actually about 8 years later, Steve Jobs and Apple convinced the record companies that selling 99-cent songs was selling, you could sell more of those digitally than you could sell an album. And the industry changed. So I'm giving you a prime example. Now, did we go public and do a secondary offering? We did, but we very quickly were out of business because you can't survive on that. The timing for that market wasn't there. So that's an example of kind of failing forward a little bit, but it happened. So, and we're coming out of this market right now. People are changing. Things are changing, right? We're into AI, and we're into this meta space, and things are changing. Okay. Right. And how fast you can digest change or monetize change matters.
Exactly. So it sounds like, not only focusing on the things you need to focus on, personally, but making wise decisions in your business so that you're not using up your physical resources trying to pursue something that maybe is not what you should be putting your energy into.
Yeah. Well, look at the crypto market imploded just now, right? So but it's not going away. It'll come back. People are going to still, the digital market and the coins and the tokens and the NFTs, that's all coming. It's still going to be here, but it's a pretty big step back when, there's billions owed to, depositors and things like that with this whole thing going on. But that is a learning experience, right? And whether you're too early, too late, you got caught in it, and some celebrities and stars did too. So it's a learning experience. But I will tell you that if you fall down, you put a Band-Aid on it, you get back up to fight another day, right?
Right.
And that's the main thing, getting back up again and again. There's a Chumbawamba song that you get knocked down, you get back up again. And again, it's not hard, but that's the building of your resilience. There was days that I did not get out of bed, did not want to get out of bed. And sometimes I forced myself to. Maybe I had a doctor's appointment. Maybe I had to walk the dog. Maybe I had to pick up my daughter at soccer practice. Whatever it was the reason to get out of bed. And now I jump out of bed. I'm excited to seize the day. I'm a newly published author. I just came from a great speaking event up in Toronto, and I'm aligning things up for 2023, and they're going to be great.
Nice. So I know we're coming close to the end of the time that we have together. So I would love for you to talk about your book a little bit. I assume you have maybe an offer that goes along with that, and how our listeners can connect with you as well.
Absolutely. Well, shiningbrightly.com is how people get in touch with me for speaking events or podcasts, and for the book, they can order on Amazon, any online, or they can contact me directly. And I always say that we're shining brightly together, Candy. So, when it's shining so brightly, you got to wear shades. So my offer today is that I have a really nice dialogue discussion guide on mentorship. I'd love to share that with everyone. You can reach out to me. I can email it to you. I can give you a download link to get the PDF. So I list 18 ways to be a mentor and why mentorship is beneficial. And I leave the final 2 for you to fill in the blanks there. So I'd love to offer that as just a freebie and to get to know me a little bit better. And if people want to get the Kindle, you can go to Amazon. It's great. And I'd love to interact with anyone from your audience that would like to interact with me. And
that would be perfect.
It's great. I've lived a little bit, and I really help people that got knocked down. I help them get back up again, because who knows better than me that's been knocked down by 2 stage 4 cancers, and I've gotten knocked down in business as well. And helping people is what I want to do, and what I will do. It's great.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Howard, for being a guest on my show and coming to talk to the listeners today about your story, shining brightly, resilience, mentorship. There were so many things that we touched on that I think was really important. So I appreciate your taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much. Have a great one. Keep shining always, Candy, and really great to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. And to the listener, I also want to thank you for tuning in today. I hope you found this topic interesting and it answered some of your questions about shining brightly as an entrepreneur. If you have any additional questions or comments, be sure to reach out to Howard, or you can send us a message at media@abandp.com. I hope you can join us for my next interview. And please remember, you can connect with me on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my website is abandp.com. You can also find the podcast posted on multiple favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, TuneIn, Google, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And would you please share our show with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? I'd really appreciate your support. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.